again. I believe I've spoken to you already, but you know what? It's good to be acknowledged more than once. So thank you all for joining and investing in yourselves. And we're going to go ahead and get our meeting started. And we're going to open our meeting with a couple different things as people are joining. I'm just going to click the link and let them come on in. We are going to start out by doing a couple things. The first thing is going to be our officer induction ceremony. And we're also going to do, I just want to give a brief announcement about the officer training that's coming up as well. Coming up as in starting tomorrow. So we have the officer training Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, which is an important piece of the puzzle because this counts towards our distinguished club goals. First part is the officer training this time of year, and then there'll be another officer training in January, February, and then that will count as one goal. But if you miss one, if we don't have at least 4 of our officers to that training, then it's all for naught. Well, shouldn't say all for naught. We don't get full credit for that distinguished club point, but the people who attend, obviously you gain that knowledge and information. So let's go ahead and keep the show rolling. Good afternoon to the other people who have joined. I see Jeremy, Valencia, John, hello, and also Greg. All right, let's go ahead and roll right into our officer induction ceremony. We're going to waste no time here because we got a full agenda. All right, so I am the immediate past president. I'm a president for a couple more weeks, so I'm gonna ride it out. But as part of this, I do need to go ahead and run us through these formalities. I can't remember from doing this 58 times, so I am reading from a script. I don't have it all down. That's okay. Honesty and transparency here, folks. Honesty and transparency here. So now this is a little bit different. We're supposed to be, if we were done this in person, I would ask everybody to stand. I'm not going to do that because we don't want to cut off everybody's head and only see from the waist down. I'm going to keep it PC here. This is a family show. All right. What I am going to do is say for all of our officers who were currently going July 1st through the 30th, our outgoing officers, I want to say thank you for what you have done. You are relieved of your duties, proactively relieved of your duties. Now, if you do have 2 more weeks, but unofficially you're relieved of your duties. Now, for our incoming officers, I'm going to install you now. And I want to prepare you to be dedicated, help this be a strong and vibrant club as we've known it to be, we've grown a lot over the past few years, and we want to continue that growth and make sure people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, it's a warm and friendly, continue to be a family-friendly environment. Continue to be family, right? Friends and family. All right. Normally, I would hand a gavel to you. So just pretend, okay? We're going to go along. All right. For the sergeant at arms, who's our sergeant at arms? I'm supposed to have a roster here.
Yeah, Jamel, did we want to just make an ask for VP of PR too? Or am I happy to, I mean, I'm happy to do both, but.
Do we have any last minute hands that want to be raised for a VP PR on the spot? It's not too late. Not too late. Going once, going twice.
I would consider that. I'm not official, I don't think yet, but I'm not sure.
I have it all down to a science for you, Valencia. So once you become official, I can transmit all of my Excel sheets and everything to you. So it'd be a very simple step into.
Okay.
So yes, awesome, amazing.
Hey.
See, this is how it's supposed to be. On the spot, on the fly, creative, impromptu officer induction and volunteering. Oh, David, do I need to take a vote? Go ahead, go.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were inducting them, but I don't know, did you actually do a vote yet? Don't you vote first and then you induct them? I don't know if you skipped a section
I
of the
think I
process.
did. I think I'm doing my clubs backwards because we don't even know who's doing what. So, see, that's what happens when you become part of multiple clubs, you forget. Or if you're disorganized, you also forget. Okay, so as VP of PR, Sarah Mary, keep me honest here if you happen to have a list there. So VP of PR would be Valencia Timms. And we have Sergeant at Arms. Who do we have down for Sergeant at Arms?
If you just give me 1 second, I'm gonna get to our Google Drive and I
Okay.
can help you out here.
As our president, as she's finding that, our president would be Sarah Mary. She's happy to step right in there. As our treasurer spot is actually still open. Our treasurer spot is actually still open. We did have a couple people who we had considered. And John O'Connor, just so you know, your name had been thrown in the hat as a possible great candidate.
Mhm.
And just so you know, you would have
Please.
plenty of teamwork. So you're saying yes? Is that what a head nod is? Or you were saying, yeah, I heard.
John, it's not hard at all. You and I would meet and we would transfer the information over to you. And we don't spend a lot of money, so mostly money comes in from memberships via, credit cards or PayPal. So it's really not complicated. And then you get like a document every month on the amount, and it's really pretty smooth. And I know with your background, I think that would be an awesome fit for you, in my opinion.
What else does it entail?
Part of what it entails is we try to meet as officers twice a month for half an hour. If we're not able to meet, we normally just send recap emails. There's also a training that's done twice a year. The officer training that's this week, it's an hour this week for the particular role, and then it'd be another hour in February. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Keeping up with the money, and which there's not a ton of exchange there, but that's kind of the support you would have from the other officer team, Debbie, myself, Sarah Mary, and others.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it sounds good.
Hey,
Hey!
it's a good day, folks. It's a good day. All right. So as our treasurer would be John O'Connor, the president would be Sarah Mary, our vice president of education would be, that's you, right, Debbie?
I am willing to
okay.
take it on if I
Yes.
would do it. And
Yes, you're in there. Great.
And I would look for a mentor as well. If maybe
Yes.
the other club has a mentor that I could communicate with, I would love that too.
Yeah, we got you, Debbie. Then I have to speed it up here. It's going to be a 2-hour meeting. All right. Myself, VP of membership. And I said President Sarah Mary, and then Sergeant at Arms is going to be Sonia Pons, and then Carla as the secretary. All right. So that is our slate of officers. So can I have a motion to move forward with this slate of officers, David Jones?
As a Queen City member, I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I so motion.
All right. There's one. Can I have a second motion?
I second it.
Great. This is your officers for this upcoming year. So now we're going to move right on into our official induction part of it. Okay. So this is basically, I'm going to summarize. Okay. I'm going to consolidate and summarize. So all the new officers, do you mind raising your right hand? You're going to be quote unquote sworn in, quote unquote, although we're not really swearing. Do you as officers, Sergeant at Arms, VP of Membership, VP of Education, President, VP of PR, and Treasurer and Secretary, plan to uphold, create a positive environment, to listen with sensitivity, give creative thinking, and commit to fulfilling these roles to the best of your ability? Please confirm by saying I do.
I
I do.
All right. Great. You are officially members. Thank you for your commitment and willingness to take on these duties. I foresee this being another great Toastmaster year, and I look forward to growing with you. And with that, that's going to conclude our officer induction ceremony. If we were in person, we would be giving out pins and all kind of great stuff. That's all right. We'll just celebrate and do jazz hands for each other here on the call. Now, I am going to pass the virtual microphone because I've talked, Lord have mercy, long enough. It's time to pass the virtual microphone over to our Toastmaster of the day. And that's going to be Sarah Mary. Is that you up to take the virtual mic? All right. Without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our incoming president, which I'm excited to see her continued growth, Sarah Mary Toss. Take it away, Sarah Mary.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Yay. Jamil, you got that done in 10 minutes. I mean, elections and induction. It wasn't that bad. You did awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Congratulations to everyone for the new roles. We're going to have a fabulous next term of Toastmasters, I have no doubt. Okay, but since we had so much going on, let's just jump right into it. So we, of course, are going to begin our meeting by introducing all of the different roles. I believe, Jeremy, you are our invocation or joke master. So would you like to get us started here?
Certainly. Thank you. So I just wanted to share with everyone a inspirational thought that I saw recently regarding leadership, which is something that we are all hopefully striving for, is to not only be better public speakers, but better leaders. And I'm constantly on the lookout for inspiration about what it means to be a leader, how leadership is defined, and all those sorts of things. And I saw something recently that reiterated the point that leadership is not defined by your title or where you stand in a chain of command or anything like that. It's defined by your ability to inspire others and to help others to be better. So no matter where you stand in an organization or otherwise, there are people at the top and the bottom who are making people to the left and the right of them better. And we are all capable of doing that. And I would encourage everyone to continue striving for that.
Thank you, Jeremy. Very appropriate, especially talking about tops and bottoms and left and right when we're in a gallery view on our Zoom and we're surrounded by one another. So that was really pertinent to today. So thank you for sharing your leadership insights with us, and please bring us all of them all the time. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, let's begin introducing all of the roles. So let's start with our topics master. David Jones, would you like to explain your role for today?
Yes, depending on the time, I will do 2 to 3 table topics, a 1 to 2 minute improv where I ask a random question and you try to make it to the green light. If you make it to the red, even better, and we'll do that when I am told. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Our general evaluator today is, Alice-Ann Crump. So we may need to figure out somebody else to fill that role. She couldn't be in attendance today, but we will pivot like we always do with perfection here at Toastmasters. So we'll figure that one out. Let's talk to the timer. Let's see, John, will you explain your role to us, please?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today, I'll be keeping track of the time to ensure we have a smooth meeting. For our speeches today, I will flash the green at 5 minutes. I will flash the yellow at 6 minutes, and I will flash the red at 7 minutes. So please make sure you're thereabouts around 7 minutes at the most. For our table topics, 1 minute is green, 1.5 is yellow, and 2 minutes is going to be red. And last but not least, our evaluation. I'll flash the green at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2.5, and the red at 3 minutes. Thank you so much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Excellent, John. Thank you. Always so concise. We really appreciate it. Okay, our grammarian today is Carla. Carla, will you please explain your role?
Absolutely. As grammarian, I basically in this club do 3 things. I do word of the day, and it's in perfect alignment with what Jeremy was talking about, leadership being defined as an ability to inspire people. The word of the day is aspire. And that has a different definition, but they're often intertwined. And it means to hope that one will achieve a certain thing. And it comes in the form of a verb, a noun, or an adjective. So if you want to seek or attain or accomplish a goal, that would be to aspire. So she aspired to become a great doctor. If you want to use it as in the form of a noun, he has the aspiration to become an astronaut. And if you want to use it as an adjective, you might say, each new year, I have an aspirational goal to grow 1 inch taller. And so those are the 3 forms. You may use aspire in any form that you want. Thank you. Oh, and I do countings, and I do identify interesting sayings or good words. So it's word of the day, grammar things, and interesting thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much. Okay, I have voluntold our general evaluator today will be David Jones, in case we have to cut the table topic short. I don't want to cut his role short. So David, will you please explain what the general evaluator does?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, or table. Yeah, you're Toastmaster.
Toastmaster.
I aspire to be able to speak when I can. Therefore, I will take on a general evaluator overlooking the entire meeting and also introducing our evaluators. And I need to know who they are. But other than that, back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Jamil will be our first evaluator. Okay, well, without further ado, let us begin with our prepared speeches for today. So Sonia Pons, you will be our first speaker for the afternoon. So without any further ado, please begin.
Toastmasters International does it again. A different pathway, the same assessment result. They continue to label me as a coach. Admirable, yes. But I don't really see myself as a coach. Just ask the program administrators of the OPM Internal Coaching Network program. I didn't pass. Shocker. Apparently my style was unique and quite challenging, so I hear. My powerful questions are direct, and occasionally I'll drop a little DSM-5 assessment language in my sessions. DSM meaning Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. But what do you expect? I am a licensed helping professional. I was built to do this. And sometimes I have to call a spade. My theoretical orientation, Adlerian. Your life narratives, aka your business, tells me all I need to know about you. Your tongues, they betray you. And though I am Neo-Freudian for life, my communication process is gangsta existential. I love a good couch, but only for sleeping and watching Netflix. Time is of the essence. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Your life and its power-packed mission is waiting on you. Done is better than perfect. Toasties, if I could call you that. Your world is waiting on me. My process is more efficient and effective. You need me. Submit to me. I know you better than you know yourself. And my student loans will not be in vain. Yet, family, when we look at the annals of history, dictatorships never inspire authentic leadership. Leadership is not possessive management. It's about inspiring people to the point of insatiable inspiration. John Quincy Adams said this, and I'm going to paraphrase it. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. Leaders step back and let others do the work they always knew they could, while along scooping up and reminding their colleagues of long forgotten or discarded breadcrumbs of unexpected but hopeful expectations. But most importantly, they set up strategic and sometimes rigged target practices where hitting the bullseye is the norm and not the anomaly. My fellow Toastmasters, how many breadcrumbs are we trampling on because we refuse to notice our surroundings and leave room for shares? Last year, I attended Maryland's First Baptist of Glen Arden's Renewed by Grace Conference, and the anchor word was abide, to bear patiently and remain stable. Talk about an excellent action word for servant leadership. Leaders and colleagues suspending their expectations to have crucial conversations in safe spaces in order to facilitate directional growth and understanding. Family, when I finally grow up, I want to perfect the art of abiding, offering grace and opportunities to those who least expect it. And let's face it, sometimes least deserve it. I want to use the art of collaboration. Stick with me here. To craft butterfly knots of boundless momentum. When someone steps out on faith and takes a leap from my foundation, I want them to know they don't need to be afraid because I'm on belay and I have that rope and I will never, ever, ever let them fail. Monikers, family, like Toastmasters curriculums are a personal choice. When I think about the word coaching, it brings up bad memories of recordings, client logs, and pretentious mentoring coaches that I would never, ever, ever hire to support me. But what I can be is a champion, a abider. So tell me, what words are describing your legacy? What are your aspirations? Do you pick up breadcrumbs and offer recipes of hope and renewal? Are you patient? Are you stable? And are you kind? The gift of choice is powerful. Act wisely. Because let's face it, student loan forgiveness, that ain't coming around anytime soon. And with that, I will gracefully turn it back over to our Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, Sonia. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Forgive me for not properly introducing you. Sonia was on her Persuasive Influence Level 2, Understanding Your Leadership Style, and her project title was called Abide. That was really powerful, Sonia. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to our second speaker of the afternoon, which is none other than Dr. David, I have you in my head, Dr. Eric Laxer. He will be speaking on his presentation mastery pathway, evaluation and feedback, 5 to 7 minutes. His project title is The Gift of Yes. Dr. Eric.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As we all know, it's a blessing to have people in our lives who we can rely on. People who are always there for us wherever and whenever we need them. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I want to share with you a story with someone who was such a person in my life and how they influenced me. Many years ago, I was doing my internship, my first year out of medical school, where you work long hours in the hospital and you're on the front line of patient care. I was on call one Friday night, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I received a page to go immediately to the emergency room. This was before we had cell phones. In those days, you carried a small pager, which could give you a short message such as, go to the operating room, go to the intensive care unit, go to the emergency room, but you never knew what awaited you when you got there. I rushed to the ER and I was directed to see a patient who arrived a few minutes earlier complaining of back pain. However, the patient's condition quickly deteriorated. By the time I got there, the patient was unresponsive, unconscious, with a critical low blood pressure. The doctor who was seeing the patient thought that they had sustained a ruptured aorta. The aorta is one of the largest blood vessels in the body. In some patients, they can develop a tear in the wall of the aorta. And when that happens, they can start to develop back pain or abdominal pain, usually severe enough that they go to the emergency room. But in severe cases, that leak can worsen and can rupture, and the patient can start experiencing internal bleeding. When that occurs, it becomes a life-threatening emergency, and the only way to treat the patient is to rush them up to surgery, open their abdomen, find the leak, and repair it. I did a quick assessment of the patient, and I agreed with the diagnosis. I rushed to the phone, and I called the junior surgeon. In those days, when you're an intern, you couldn't operate on a patient on your own. You had to call the junior surgeon, and the hierarchy in the hospital was such that he would call the senior surgeon, they would do the surgery together, and you could assist. I called the operating room to let them know we had a patient with an emergency, that we were bringing them right up, and they should prepare for surgery immediately. I called the operator and asked her to page the junior surgeon. And then I sat and waited by the phone. A minute went by. I looked at the phone, I looked at the clock, I looked over at the patient who was now doing even worse. They were hanging blood transfusions. They were getting the patient ready to rush them up to the operating room. But the junior surgeon didn't call me back. I called the operator again, and this time I asked her to call the senior surgeon, which was not something an intern typically did, but I knew the time was critical. I hung up the phone and I again waited. I looked at the phone, I looked at the clock, I looked at the patient who was not doing any better, and at this point was being quickly wheeled by me on the way up to the operating room. It's now about 2:10 in the morning. I call the answering service back and I realize I have no choice. I asked the operator to call Dr. David Mulder. Dr. Mulder was the chief of surgery at a large big city hospital. He was at the top of the hierarchy. As an intern, you didn't speak to Dr. Mulder, let alone call him in the middle of the night. In fact, you were lucky if you were standing in the hallway and when he walked by you, he gave you a nod. But usually that was because he was fixing his hair or scratching his head. This time, instead of telling me to wait for Dr. Mulder to call me back, the operator tells me to wait on the line. She's going to call him at home and connect the two of us on the phone. A sleepy Dr. Mulder answers the phone, and here's how the conversation goes. Dr. Mulder here. Hey, Dr. Mulder, it's Eric Laxer. I'm the surgical intern on call today, and I know you're not on call, but I'm in the emergency room with a patient who is unconscious, dropping blood pressure, we think has a ruptured aneurysm, and we know he needs to get to surgery immediately. But I've called the junior and the senior surgeons, and nobody has answered me, so I need some help. And here's where the magic happened. There was not a question. There was not a delay. There was not a hesitation. As soon as I finished speaking, Dr. Mulder says to me, I'm on my way. Meet me in the operating room. It was as if I had shined the bat beam up into the sky, and Batman himself told me he was on his way. I hung up the phone. I ran out of the emergency room. I ran up the 12 flights of stairs to get to the operating room. When I arrived, the junior surgeon had already received his page, and he was there waiting. And he and I started the case, and Dr. Mulder joined us within a few minutes and took over the surgery, and luckily, the patient survived. I spent a lot of time at this hospital during my 6 years of training, and what I learned was this story was not an exception. Dr. Mulder was the type of person who was always there when you needed him. If you ever called him, his answer was always yes. He was someone who, as surgeons in training, we all aspire to be like. He was a great example to me and others, not just how to be a great surgeon, but how to be a great person, how to be a great friend, a great sibling, even a great parent or child or partner. I hope that everyone here has your own version of Dr. Mulder in your life, or more importantly, that you could be a Dr. Mulder to somebody else if they ever need you. Because the greatest gift you can sometimes give somebody when they call you and need you is to just say yes and ask questions later. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Very good, Dr. Laxer. That was wonderful. So this is the second time Dr. Laxer has given this speech because he's receiving evaluation. And I think that you implemented what you learned last week very well. And it's such an inspiring story. Really well done. Very well done. Okay, I am going to turn it over to our table topics master, David Jones. We've got time for a couple, I think. So yeah, let's do some.
I would like to volunteer Valencia Timms first, if I could. And Valencia, my question to you is not vain. It's not for you to say, oh, that's not me. It's actually a question that I've used at our high altitude before. It is from Aaron Beverly, the 2019 Toastmaster champion. And his question is simply this: what makes you awesome?
Thank you so much, Mr. Table Topics Master, for this question. I have been waiting for probably at least half my life for someone to ask me what makes me awesome. So thank you for this opportunity to share. Where do I start? I think one thing that makes me awesome is I was the kind of kid who loved to take apart the electronics in my house and got in so much trouble for this. I wanted to learn how things were put together. I was very curious. And as I was growing up, my stepmom and my dad owned a computer store, and I learned about working with computers. Now, I wanted to be a literature instructor, a professor, and I love literature. It's like my favorite thing. But every time I worked a job, I could not help but put my hands on people's computers. I'm having a problem with my machine. Oh, let me take a look. Can't help it. I could be at the grocery store and someone's having trouble with their computer and I have to talk myself out of leaving. Don't get involved. They have people for that. One thing that makes me awesome is I've been working in technology for quite some time now. And the career path that I'm in now, I love, absolutely love. And you couldn't have told me when I was that young lady working at my stepmom and dad's store at the flea market, putting early Windows on machines and with people with their 1 gig hard drives, that this would be my life, but I'm so thankful for it. And thank you so much for asking that.
You're participating. I appreciate it. Carla, I have a question for you. Why are you here? Why are you here at Toastmasters?
Thank you for that question, Table Topics Master. I'm here at Toastmasters because my sister Susan, who is a Toastmasters in California, invited me during COVID time to attend a Zoom at her Toastmasters. And it was 9 o'clock for her, but it was noon for me, so it was easy to do. And I definitely enjoyed it. And then when I went out to visit her, I attended a Toastmasters meeting in person. And I decided, I love hearing the stories. The people seem so authentic. They didn't just seem it, they were authentic. And I left and I aspired to become a better speaker. I had been a speaker throughout my career, but I'd stopped speaking publicly. And I just wanted to get back to doing it and to enjoying it. And so I looked around, found South Park Toastmasters, which was near me when at the time, and I just went online and started doing it. The real question is, what kept me here? And what kept me here is the nature of this club and our sister club. And it's that family attitude that we are a community there to inspire and support each other. Every time I'm here, I feel happy. I feel joyful. So that's why I'm here. I feel like in some ways I'm taking because I'm so inspired and I'm getting such richness from people. I hope also I am giving to everybody and helping them to learn from my mistakes and from my sense of humor and from my joy. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carla. And do I have time for one more, Sarah Mary? Yeah, we'll make it quick. I'll ask Jeremy real quick. I like to learn from people I haven't really got to know that well yet. And Jeremy, what do you aspire to do here at Toastmasters?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I aspire to be a great public speaker, which I'm sure we all do. I think you made a good point 2 meetings ago whenever I attended the last meeting, where you mentioned in passing that being a great public speaker is a constant practice. So it's something that we have to continue doing for the rest of our lives. And I agree with that 100%. I believe it is noticeable when I have missed at least one meeting, as I did last week. And I'm trying to jump back into things today. And it is my hope that in regularly attending these meetings, I will not only continue to get better, but keep my skills fresh so that I will continually perceive myself to be a wonderful public speaker, not only to aspire to be a wonderful public speaker, but to see myself in that way. Because another great video that I saw recently made the point that if we are aspiring to be something, we are always striving for that thing. And there's the impression that we are not that thing at the time. But if we wake up each morning and see ourselves as a great public speaker, and then say to ourselves, okay, well, what do great public speakers do? We have already achieved that goal and we are acting accordingly with that expectation. And I think that's a great mindset to have. So I will continue to attend Toastmasters and go over my time in the hopes of living up to my own expectation as a great public speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a 30-second grace period, so I think you snuck it in there just in time.
Great.
Thanks for your responses, and back to Sarah Mary.
Awesome answers, guys. We have so much energy today. I'm loving it. Okay, well, I'm turning it back over to David Jones and his new hat, which is General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and I will evaluate the meeting as a whole. But first, I'd like to introduce our evaluator for speaker number 1, Sonia, which I believe is Jamil. Jamil, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Sonia. Okay, so when I was listening to, that was a deliberate you can count it if you want to. When I was listening to your speech, it made me think I need to step my game up. Like I really need to step my game up. This is why. I'm going to go through the technicalities, then I'll summarize at the end. In the beginning, you started out with Toastmasters International has done it again. So my mind went to, oh shoot, did I miss something? What the heck did they do? You immediately had our attention. That's called an attention grabber, right? So very masterful and very subtle the way you did it. Toastmasters International has done it again. So great job with the attention grabber. You also went into so many different phrases and creative uses of the English language. This was a combination of you really finding and settling into your way of speaking, which I love that. You used phrases like gangster, existential. You called us toasties. Aw, how cute is that? And then you also, your subject was abide, and you called us a champion abider. You called yourself a champion abider. So talking about coaching and the different leadership styles and what eventually comes out of you just based on your background and your style of how you do things. And you just took us on a great journey. It was a combination of almost like an open mic, poetry, conversational speech. So it was very, very masterfully done. So if you're still learning to speak, which I am, and just to the audience, don't try to become Sonia, like you might hurt yourself trying to be Sonia. But what I would encourage you is find your style. Find your style. That's what I want you guys to do. All right. So what I would challenge you to do is, because I had to find some way to come up with something to help you improve. I think your last phrase was, I would have pointed out as a question, a challenge / question. Do you pick up the breadcrumbs and offer recipes? I was like, who is this? Lord have mercy. I mean, it was amazing. But what I would do though, is I would really set that up and call it to a challenge and use wording like, I want to challenge you as the audience. I want to pose this question to you. You know, so our attention, again, you've got our attention. It's almost to bring it home, so to speak. And then I would say that line. It was amazing, but keep doing it. Great job. And I look forward to hearing more. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jamil. And I agree, we need to find people that raise us up, whether it's leadership or public speaking, because sometimes we get comfortable and we're like, I got this. And then Sonia comes along and like, oh, I need to step it up a little bit. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Debbie to evaluate Dr. Eric.
Thank you so much, David. Dr. Laxer, as I listened to your speech, I thought about many different things. This was the second of your speeches, and I had reached out to you prior to your speech, right before our meeting, to ask, did you want me to pay special attention to anything in particular? I was so happy to get your response. And you mentioned that you really wanted to work on gestures and pauses and vocal variety. Really fabulous things for all of us to work on during our speeches. Plus, you had this opportunity to tell us about an experience that most of us have never had, and it's called life and death. And you had so many important parts of your speech, such as grave responsibility, initiative, and communication, because you were an intern and you had just huge amounts of responsibility and someone's life depended on it. And I thought, what a fabulous opportunity to use gestures and pauses and vocal variety. So I'd like to comment on those things that you wanted special attention paid to. Gestures, I believe you used some very effective ones. Phone to the ear, you did thumbs up, you at times had your hands clasped together, which is to me like a sign of just intention and sincerity and how important all of this really was to you. So I feel like your gestures were there, they were natural, and they were effective. I also think if perhaps the camera had been adjusted a little bit with less room on the top of your head and a little bit lower, we could have seen them more effectively. Now, in person, they were there, but I think on camera, that might be one thing to think about as you, if you do this again, and I hope you do, because it was a fabulous speech. Pauses, I thought you had many examples of pauses, and I think for the audience, pauses create anticipation. Pauses show your comfort with your speaking and your story. So I might suggest making your pauses even longer. Just make them a little longer, because that we were waiting to see if someone was going to live. And I think, oh my gosh. So use those pauses and accentuate them, which I know you could do because you were doing it. And I think just make them a little longer. Vocal variety. Again, you're telling us a story about life and death. And I think the opportunities for vocal variety were definitely there. Like you were talking about, I was waiting and I was waiting. Minutes went by. And when you finally reached the surgeon, you were, I need some help. And he was on his way. And I think just accentuate those emotions just a little more to create that vocal variety, because all the necessary ingredients are there, but just play them up a little bit larger. And that would be my suggestion. But a wonderful speech, great opportunity for storytelling. And I thank you for the opportunity to evaluate your speech. Thank you.
Toastmaster Debbie. And let me think. Yeah, pauses, I think, are one of the most difficult things in public speaking to do, especially for me. I never pause, but if you can do it, it's a great art to pause. And let me think, can I get a timer's report?
Good afternoon. Great job, everyone, today. Looks like we are starting with the speeches. Sonia, I have you coming in at 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Dr. Laxer at 6 minutes and 54 seconds. For table topics, Valencia, 1 minute, 54 seconds. Carla, 1 minute, 34 seconds. Jeremy, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. For evaluation, Jamil for Sonia, 3 minutes and 19 seconds. And Deborah for Dr. Laxer, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster John. And can I get a grammarian's report?
Be glad to. I'm going to do this by people because there were quite a few interesting comments made today. Jamil, I'll start with you. You had several so's, ums, and ahs, and you connected many of your sentences with buts that you may have been able to take out. I liked your expression, find your style, when you were evaluating Sonia. You talked about investing in yourself early on and honesty and transparency. And I thought that those were all interesting statements. Sarah Mary, I heard one throughout the whole day. There could have been more that were there. The other thing is with your style of being Toastmaster, most of your sentences start with, okay, all right, awesome. You inspire us just by the way you integrate those words. So thank you for that. Sonia, there were so many catchphrases, interesting descriptions, some of them, the gangsta existentialism. I picked up on the ballet when you were talking about holding on to the rope as a leader. Tell the truth and shame the devil, how you integrated that so smoothly in. Never heard of anything like that. You did use the word of the day, aspire. You talked about servant leadership, and you talked about abide and abiding, which would be another good word for the day. David, heard no ums, ahs, anything like that. You used the word of the day at least twice, so thank you. Deborah, in your evaluation, very intentional. You did throw in a ah and a so, and you also had and I, had you just had and I, and the next thing, you would have skipped that Eric, the gift of yes. I did not hear anything except for my favorite expression or statement in all of yours was the Batman beam. That was what Dr. Mulder was. I thought that was a very visual and effective way to communicate that. Jeremy, you get the gold star. I heard aspire at least 3 times in your speech, a few so's, ums, and ahs. There were many things in your initial statement about inspirational, thoughtful leadership, defining the ability to define its ability to inspire others. So we had aspire and inspire, which are often interchanged. Excellent there. Valencia, when you spoke, I didn't hear anything. Maybe you're in a leadership role and I don't want to scare you away. And John, nothing from you that no ums, no ahs, no ohs, no miscues. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good speeches all day long.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. And finally, just a quick general evaluation, the last minute fill-ins, which all clubs do, and you all do it well. And we were here at Toastmasters to practice, and practicing speeches for work or clubs or whatever, just last minute, you need to scan the room and see who's going to fill it in. And also by participating, you become the person at your company that they'll call on to fill in a role last minute. So it's all great practice. And with that, I want to see if she's going to say, okay, awesome, or all right. So I'll turn it back to our Toastmaster.
All right. Thank you, guys. Recovering cheerleader over here. So you'll have to excuse the energy. Anyway, it was a wonderful, truly wonderful meeting. Great pivots, inspiring and awesome speeches, of course. South Park Toastmasters never fails to impress. So it's just so wonderful to have everybody here. We had such an incredible turnout. Thank you guys for participating in elections and inductions. Congratulations to all of the upcoming leaders. We're going to have a killer semester. I know that some of us are going to be working with the new leaders. So Valencia, you and I can absolutely schedule time to chat, and I'll get all the logins and kind of my plan of action. I can share that with you, and then you can, of course, make the role fit your life and lifestyle and messaging and everything. So other than that, let's just turn it over back to Jamil, guys. We did all of this in under an hour, which is pretty phenomenal. So we got a lot done. Jamil, you did a great job running elections real quick. Really wonderful work. So Jamil, if you'll end our session today, that would be wonderful.
Yes, thank you all for your participation. I echo the comments that were made, and I'm just proud of this group. We've come a long way in a short period of time. I just want to give a reminder of the officer training, which begins tomorrow through Thursday. The link for the training, it's going to be virtual again. It's on the D37 calendar, and I am looking to find that so I can just put it in the chat and you guys can go and register. But it definitely helps towards not only your individual knowledge base and training and knowing of the overall roles, what you are expected to do, but also it counts towards our club too. So it helps both ways, helps you individually and it helps our club. So I am going to copy and paste this into chat, but great job, everybody. And it just goes to show that the more you continue to work on your skill, the better you're going to get at it. The more you do it, the more you look for different ways, and even tweaks and small adjustments can make a big difference. I like to use the rock in the shoe analogy. One small rock can make a big difference in how you walk if you get a rock in your shoe, right? It'll turn your whole body sideways sometimes. But great job all, and I look forward to the continued growth of this group, and I will talk to you all next week. Y'all have a great rest of the week and aspire to be better. All right, talk to y'all later.
Quick message, Sarah Mary as the incoming president and Jamil as the outgoing president. At our next officers meeting, which I believe is this Friday, we're going to learn from Jamil how to post our officers list roster to Toastmasters. So Sarah Mary will do that either after the meeting or during the meeting so that Jamil will show us how to do that.
Okay, excellent. Yes, so we can set it into international, you mean?
Jamil, where are we? I
Yeah,
just know it's the role of the secretary, so I'm doing it no matter what, but.
Can I interrupt really quickly?
Sure.
Please.
You may want to put that in before people attend training. I don't know how it will affect the credit for it, but if you won't meet until the end of the week, and training is during this week, you might want to have that already reported out to TI before you attend training.
Training starts tomorrow, so you're saying we need to do that today?
Today.
Yes.
That's what
Do you
I.
guys have 10 minutes right now to do it? Should we try to do it right
It's
now?
really quick.
Yeah, I can stay on with you, Carla.
Okay, just so we get it done, so that, okay. Sarah Mary, you want to stay on too? And
Great.